I stood rooted to the spot, my fingers tightly gripping my phone, eyes glued to the email that had just popped up in our shared account. My wife, Emily, moved through the kitchen, her gentle humming drifting through the air as she reached for her purse. "I'm off to grab dinner with some friends," she'd announced, her voice light, almost too casual. I wanted to believe her, but the email burned into my mind. A hotel room booked for tonight, listed solely under her name. My stomach twisted as I spoke, my tone strained. "That's strange. I just noticed a hotel reservation you made." Her humming stopped abruptly, and the atmosphere in the room grew thick. She froze, her hand hovering over the car keys on the counter. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her voice now sharp, almost guarded. I held up my phone, showing her the email. Her eyes flicked to the screen, then back to me, and for a brief second, I glimpsed something in her expression, perhaps guilt or maybe discomfort. "It's not what it seems," she said hurriedly, her words stumbling, lacking her usual composure. I remained quiet, letting the silence press on her, urging her to clarify. "It's for work," she said finally, her voice steadier now. "A client's visiting for one night, and I booked the room for them. I'm just meeting them for dinner first." Her explanation sounded plausible, but something in her tone felt rehearsed, as though she'd prepared for this moment. I gave a slow nod, avoiding an argument, but my thoughts churned. Why hadn't she mentioned this before? And why was the reservation in her name, not the company's? I watched her leave, her car pulling out of the driveway, leaving the house in a heavy stillness that deepened my doubts. Sitting at the kitchen table, I stared at the email again, trying to piece it together. Emily had been distant lately, late nights at the office, vague answers about her day. I'd dismissed it as stress, but now I wasn't so sure. Almost on impulse, I opened my laptop and checked her calendar. There it was. Dinner with friends, 7 p.m. No mention of a client or a hotel. I told myself I was overthinking, but the unease ate at me. Grabbing my keys, I drove to the restaurant she'd mentioned, a trendy spot downtown. Her car was there, parked neatly in the lot. I sat in my truck watching the entrance, feeling like a cliché from a cheap suspense film. A group spilled out, laughing, but Emily wasn't with them. Then I saw her, stepping out alone, her face lit by the glow of her phone as she glanced at it. She didn't look like someone heading to a relaxed dinner with friends. She got into her car and drove off, and against my better judgment, I followed. My heart pounded as her car wound through the city, not toward home but toward the hotel from the email. She parked and walked inside, disappearing through the glass doors. I sat there, hands clenched on the steering wheel, torn between confronting her and driving away. What was I after? Answers? Evidence? I didn't know, but I couldn't just leave. The hotel lobby was sleek and quiet, far too upscale for a simple business meeting. I lingered near the elevators, scanning for her. Then I spotted her, emerging from the bar with a man I didn't recognize. He was older, sharply dressed, his hand brushing her arm as they shared a chuckle. My chest tightened. She hadn't lied about a meeting, but this didn't feel professional. I slipped behind a pillar, feeling ridiculous but unable to look away. They headed toward the elevators, and I followed at a distance, my pulse loud in my ears. They stepped into an elevator, and as the doors slid shut, I caught a glimpse of her face, calm, almost happy in a way I hadn't seen in months. I took the next elevator, my mind a mess of anger and disbelief. When I reached the floor listed in the email, I hesitated. What was I doing? Confronting her could ruin everything, but turning back felt like giving up. I knocked on the door of the reserved room. No answer. I knocked again more forcefully, and after a moment Emily opened it, her face paling when she saw me. "Why are you here?" she whispered, glancing back into the room. The man was there, sitting on the edge of the bed, looking as shocked as she was. "We need to talk," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. She stepped into the hallway, closing the door behind her. In that moment, I knew our lives were about to change forever.